Hello, fellow humans, human fellas. Hi everybody, Carla here. And so I've been away for a couple of weeks. It's not that I haven't been doing anything or that I haven't had anything to talk about. I went to see Captain Marvel last weekend and I loved it. And I originally thought that I would do a review for Captain Marvel when I saw it, and I did, and I loved it. I walked out of there thinking, all I'm gonna do in this review is just gush about this movie, and there will be like nothing actually practical for me to say about it, because I loved the whole thing. I loved it so much, and I don't want to seem too overly gushy, and I also at the same time I feel like I need to watch it again in order to really, because my overwhelming feeling when I walked out of the theater was I love this movie. It made me smile throughout the entire thing. I was just so entertained, and I don't know, I feel like there's not much more that I can say at this point than that. Like, I need to be able to go watch it again in order to have like a detailed, point by point kind of idea of what I liked and the few things that I didn't like, and I don't feel like I have that grasp on it yet. So, you know, I won't do a review for it. Kind of sucks because I wanted to do that since I was on time. Now that I'm in Australia, I actually get to watch movies, you know, on time for their release, and I don't have to like wait for them. But I feel like I need to watch it again in order to get a really good grasp of what I liked and didn't like about it. I loved it. I will be watching it over and over again. It's quickly shot to some of my favorite movies in the MCU. So I need to watch it again, and then maybe I'll think about doing a review for it. In the meantime though, I did keep going with my to-watch list, and I watched a show that I honestly was not expecting to love so much, and I freaking fell in love with it, and it's The Dragon Prince on Netflix. It's an amazing show, and I cannot recommend it more for everybody. Like, I've already told friends of mine and family that they need to watch it because it's just so good. So I fell in love with it. I've been reading fanfic for the last week or so because I just loved it so much. And you know, when I start reading fanfic, that's when it, you know, becomes real that yes, I am really a part of this fandom and I really, really love this show. So I decided when I got to that point, hey, I might as well just talk about the show on Freaking Narnia since I loved it so much. So that's what I'm gonna do today. I'm gonna do just not necessarily a review, but just go through, you know, the usual 30-day challenge and talk about all the things that I liked or didn't like about The Dragon Prince, and just my favorite parts of it, what I loved, and why I loved it so much, why I'm so into deep with this show, like for real. I just finished watching the 2 seasons and I already cannot wait until season 3. It's such a good show. So that's what I'm gonna do today. Warning, there will be spoilers. If you haven't watched the show, please don't watch this. Go to Netflix, watch the show, and then come back and tell me if you agree with me. I think this is a show that everybody needs to watch, especially if you like Avatar: The Last Airbender, which in my opinion is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, animated series of all time, without a doubt. And if you loved Avatar, this sort of has the same feel to it, and it's just so great. I love it. I love the world building. I love the characters. I love everything about the show, and I need to talk about it. So that's what I'm gonna do today. I will warn you, there will be spoilers because I just watched both seasons in a row. If you haven't watched it, go ahead, watch it. It's a really quick watch. It's just like 18 half-hour episodes. You can do that in like a day. So go ahead, watch it, and then come back and watch this video and tell me if you agree with my points. I definitely recommend it.
Danger, Will Robinson! Danger! No, Will Robinson! Danger!
So yeah, now that you've been warned, let me start with question number 1, which is, what is your favorite female character? And that's a totally easy one, and also an unexpected one, because it's Rayla. I love Rayla, and it was so unexpected for me to love Rayla, because she's almost become my favorite character of the show. I'm pretty sure I would be able to say that she's my favorite character in the show, and that's so weird to me, because if I look at my history with other fandoms, generally speaking, like with a few exceptions, but generally speaking, I tend to favor the dudes, the male characters, like those tend to be my favorite ones. So it was kind of weird that I was so drawn to Rayla from the beginning, because usually I don't feel that way with female characters. Like I totally support female characters and everything. They just don't tend to be my favorites for some strange reason. Like I've always felt like somehow I can relate more to the male characters in most instances. But in this case, like, she's so cool, but she's so relatable at the same time. Like she's a female character that I can actually relate to, and that's awesome. And I love that she's like sarcastic all the time. Like that's the thing that gets to me. That's the thing that makes me love her. She's so sarcastic, and it's great. And I love her. It's like, oh, my precious, badass, sarcastic child. I cannot help but love her. I love her so much. She's so great. Number 2, favorite male character. It's gotta be Callum. He's such a dork. But he's an earnest dork, so it's like there's an eagerness to him and a determination to him that I just adore. And he does dip into the sarcasm every now and then, which immediately makes me like him. So yeah, it's definitely Callum. Number 3, favorite minor character. I adore Grunny. I just really freaking love him. He's the best. Also Erebus, just because he's so, like, he looks so cool. I don't think he'll be a minor character. I think he'll probably be a big character since season 2 onwards. So I thought twice about mentioning him in this question, but for the moment, I'm gonna say he's a minor character. So I'm gonna say I like him strictly because of his looks. Like, he looks so cool. I could just stare at him forever. He looks so cool. Favorite episode. Okay. My favorite episode, I'm pretty sure, like, I've only watched the series once, so I can't really say that there's one or the other that made me watch it more times or anything, but I'm pretty sure that my favorite episode so far, because it's the one I think about the most, is Half Moon Lies. You know, the one where Callum and Claudia go on a date and stuff, and then meanwhile, you know, Soren's trying to kill Esrin, and Rayla's trying to, like, figure Soren and Claudia out and try to show Callum and Esrin that they're bad guys and stuff. And I really love that episode. I love that it's so much about interpersonal, you know, interactions between the young cast, and it reveals so much about the motivations and methods of each character. You know, what they want to do and what they're willing to do to get to that. Both good and bad, in the case of Soren and Claudia, and then in the case of the other 3. Plus, just seeing Soren fail miserably at being a murderer is just freaking hilarious. I don't know, I just find Soren so funny. It's like every time I think about it, it's so funny. And I think this is the first episode where I really began to think about the whole Claudia and Soren thing as a very complicated issue, you know, because I knew it was there, you know, it was a crush. It was obvious that Callum had a crush on her, and, you know, you kind of can't understand it, you know. But this is the one where I started actually thinking, hey, this is like way deeper and way more important, and how it affects everybody. Like, it's not just Claudia and Callum, it's how it affects Rayla, it's how it affects Esren and Soren and the decisions they take. It's just a really interesting character-focused episode, and I'm always here for the character focus. So yeah, I definitely think this one is my favorite. Number 5, second favorite episode. I had to think about this a lot, but I'm pretty sure my second favorite episode is Moonrise. It's the 3rd episode of season 1, and I feel like this is the episode that hooked me even more than the first 2 episodes, because the show is weird in that the first 2 episodes were kind of meh to me, like whatever. It wasn't until Moonrise that I was like, holy crap, this show is awesome. You know what I mean? And there are several reasons for that though, but mainly because it just sort of defined the bond between the 3 main characters for me. It also it sets up the mystery behind Harris's death, and you know, just everything that wound up happening that night. I'm like 75% convinced that he's in the stupid parrot. Like, it's gonna be a thing, I hope. Fingers crossed, I don't know. The whole Moonshadow Elf attack was amazing, like visually and just intellectually, like how they plan an attack on a king, like an assassination attempt. It's so cool. It felt almost like watching a documentary, except, you know, it's a fantasy world, so it's really interesting though. It just, Callum using magic for the first time, I thought was really cool. Rayla, when she says, you know, say the word and I'll go back into the castle with you, like, I love that. That was the moment that made me love Rayla for the first time. Like, that's when I decided this girl is gonna be something. And I love everything about this episode. I think Moonrise is probably the best episode of season 1, and I really loved it. Number 6, 3rd favorite episode. Well, I'm gonna cheat a little here and say that my 3rd favorite episode is actually 2 episodes. Because first, it's Breaking the Seal and Heart of a Titan. Because those 2 go together. You really can't split it. It's basically the same episode, just continued. Just the flashbacks and getting to know so much about these characters before the whole situation with the egg even started was so enlightening to me. Getting to know more of Sarai, which I love. I love her, she's great. And getting to see more of Amaya being a badass was great as well. And their relationship as sisters was super interesting. Much love for the Queens of Duran. Yes, absolutely. And just, one of my favorite scenes in the entire show is that scene where Sarai and Harrow are sparring. I thought that was really well done. It was really cool. I love the whole thing. It's a great episode. Both of them, really. I consider it one episode in my head. That's why I'm calling it one episode, but really both of them are super great. Number 7, favorite season. I'm gonna have to go with season 2. You know, season 1 had a lot of like small moments that stood out a lot to me, but I felt like the characters were apart for long stretches of the season, and even on their own for long stretches of the season. And it felt like in season 2 we got to see more interaction between the 2 groups and seeing how the 2 factions related to each other and what they wanted out of each other and what they were willing to do in order to get that. I just thought that was a lot more interesting in a way. And I also really loved that season 2, it felt like the world building got more of an emphasis, like with learning more about the other kingdoms of the humans and learning more about Asadia and the different elf tribes and stuff. I just thought it was really cool. And even the mythology was more, you could see they put it on in the mythology, like with the whole Arcanum thing and just learning what magic in this world really means and where it comes from and why dark magic is so bad. Like, I mean, you kind of think of dark magic as bad, but in season 2 you can really begin to see why it's bad. You're taking the magic from something and basically, like Claudia says, squeezing it out of it, and that's just wrong. So, you know, I found that really, really cool and really, really interesting. Plus, the whole subplot with Erebos, it's just A+. Like, they're going so slow with that, but I can't wait to see where it goes. Obviously, he's going to be like a bad dude, I've got that feeling, but he's an interesting bad dude, and I love everything they did with him and Varen in this season. I thought it was great. Favorite quote, and I think my favorite quote is, and I'm gonna read it just so I don't get it wrong, but it's when Callum says, "Then it's a cycle. You hurt me, someone will get revenge against the elves. It won't end." Because that's kind of the whole crux of the entire series, right? It's this cycle of pain and hurt and revenge that keeps happening between humans and elves, and it won't end until somebody takes a stand and decides to, just end the hostilities once and for all and forgive everything that happened in the past, because otherwise it will just keep going on and on and on. And it's such a metaphor for the real world as well, that it's just such an incredibly wise quote, and it sounds even more, more of a heavyweight to it because it's coming from the mouth of a 14-year-old kid. You know what I mean? It was such a huge deal, and it's important because even Raylan season 2 kind of reminds Callum that he told her that, and that it changed her life. And that's the thing with inspiring quotes, that they should change lives. And I wish somebody would feel and think the way that Callum feels and thinks about this conflict in real life with other conflicts. It's so inspiring, and I really, really love that. First episode you watched, well, I came into this late and I watched it in order, so yeah, the first one I watched was the first episode, so not much of a science to that. Number 10, I forgot to mention 9 before, whatever, that was 9. This is number 10, and that is favorite ship. And my favorite ship is definitely Callum and Rayla. I had already started shipping them ish in season 1, but season 2 just really drove it home for me. Like, these two could be really good for each other. And I think through all of this, they've become such good friends. I mean, it's hard to remember sometimes that it's only been like 3 weeks since they met. But they've become such good friends, and I love those ships where, in the middle of adversity, you kind of find someone who really gets you and who really is there for you and to support you. And I think they can be that for each other. They're so supportive of each other. Like, even when they bicker all the time, because they do bicker all the time, that when they need each other, when they need the other person to be there, the other person is going to be there for them. And just the whole idea that a human and an elf can become friends and maybe fall in love, after all that division that's happened between them, it's such an inspiring thing, and it's such an inspiring thing for real life as well. If two people it's the quintessential Romeo and Juliet thing, but without being as obnoxious as Romeo and Juliet. But if two people from different factions can actually come together and fall in love, that's something great. And I think with Callum and Rayla, it's not just because they're two people from different factions who came together and hopefully will fall in love. It's because they've become friends, and they've come to understand each other and understand the other's position, and compare to themselves and realize when they themselves and their people have done wrong. And I think that's super important. It's really, really huge, and that's why I feel inspired by them. I really think they'd make a good couple. They're so supportive of each other that it's basically impossible not to like them, at least at this point. Season 2 was like, like all the shipping. And I just thought it was so cool. I squealed through the entire season. Number 11, second favorite ship. I don't have one. Harrow and Sarai are cute when we get to see them, but we get to see them so little that it's not like I'm actively shipping them. I shipped them. I don't want them to be with it. I didn't want them to be with anyone else. I wouldn't have wanted that. But I don't go into the internet and read fanfic and look up fan art of the two of them. They're just kind of there, you know. So yeah, I ship them, but I don't like ship them. You know what I mean? Same, like, much love for the Queens of Duran. I wish we can see more of them. Like, I know they're supposed to be dead right now, right? That's what Anya says at some point. But like, I wish we could see more of them in flashbacks because they just seem so really cool. But again, I'm not like reading fanfic of them or anything, so I ship them, but I don't ship them. You know what I mean? I don't think we've seen enough of most characters for me to really be able to make an informed choice in this. I don't know. I don't think so. Number 12, worst moment. This could be a death, a departure, or something that I hated and made me sad or whatever. I think basically everything Baron has done has made me pissed off. Mostly, though, when he tells, well, two things. When he tells Soren to kill Callum and Ezran, no. And two, when he tells Claudia that if it comes down between a choice, it comes down to a choice between the egg and Soren, that she should choose the egg over Soren's life. I thought that was just freaking despicable. Like, Baron is really quickly coming to reach like Gendo Ikari status in my head. And that is saying a lot because I freaking hate Gendo Ikari's guts forever. Like, he is the worst ever. Like, the highest level ever when it comes to parental shittiness. That's Gendo Ikari, and Baron is coming real close. I'm just saying, like, I'm probably sure that they'll, like, in the future they'll give me some like flashback that will make me feel a little bit for Baron, but as it stands right now, I just freaking hate his guts. Number 13, best moment of your female character. Actually, I have two. The first is when she tells Callum that she'll go back to the castle with him if he wants to. Because again, like I said before, that was the moment when I decided this girl is something. And that's basically when she became my favorite character altogether. But then there's the moment when Ezran goes into the ice, the icy water to get the egg, and they think he's dead. And then she realizes that her binding is still on, it's still tight, and she tells Callum that no, Ezran's definitely alive, and she just explains everything, what the binding means. And she says that it's, you know, later on she says that it's totally like worth it for her to lose a hand as long as Ezran lives. And I thought that moment was just great. It's Rayla in just one scene, and I thought it was amazing. And I love her. I think she's a great character, and I just thought that moment was great. I've been waiting for it, and it was better than I expected. So yeah. Number 14, favorite moment or best moment for your male character. Again, I have two. The first time I thought Callum was gonna be like huge for me. Was when Rayla was trying to kill him, and he tells her he's Ezran in order to save his little brother. I thought that moment right there just defined Callum for me from that point on. And then there's later at the end of the season when he destroys the Primal Stone in order to give Zim a possibility of hatching. It's just, I don't know that I would have done that. For me, that was huge. Because I kept thinking to myself, if I had the ability to do magic, and this thing is the only thing that's giving me that ability, and it's literally the only thing I'm good at, would I be able to destroy it in order to save the prince? You know, save the dragon prince. And I don't know that I would have been able to. I hope that I would, but I don't know if I'm put in that position what I would do. And for me, just the fact that he sort of just looked at it and smashed it in the ground without much of a thought, really. I mean, obviously he didn't have the time to think about it, but he just did it. And for me, that was huge. So that was definitely a moment that defined Callum for me. Number 15, best moment of your favorite ship. And, oh God, there are so many. basically every time they hug, I squeal like a crazy fangirl that I am. Like basically every time. But I also really liked when Callum did dark magic in order to save Rayla. And I know that I probably shouldn't like that as much because he was doing dark magic, but just the fact that he was willing to do something that he knew was wrong just to save her, and I mean, I guess the dragon as well, but like, it was mainly Rayla, we all know that. It just really demonstrated how much he cared about her, and how much he cared about doing the right thing, even if he did it through the wrong means. And I thought it was really, really sweet somehow. Even through the whole, dark-eyed, evil magic kind of thing. I just thought it was kind of sweet. Number 16, a scene that made you cry. Well, you guys know I'm not much of a crier, but I don't have any scenes that actually made me cry. Like, there's this moment in Moonrise in episode 3 of season 1 when Runan walks out of the throne room and falls to his knees, and then his binding falls off, which is meant to represent that Harrow is dead. And I don't know, that it didn't make me cry. Like, I didn't feel sad. I found that entire moment really evocative. Like, just it looked so emotional. And I guess that's kind of the closest thing I can think of right now. Number 17, a scene that made you laugh so much your stomach hurt. Every time Rayla pretends to be a human, like, every time she tries to, like, act the way that she thinks that humans act, it's just so epic hilarious. Like, every time, like, I've laughed so hard that I've cried every time she's done that. It's just hilarious. Number 18, best OMG scene. Well, first of all, the reveal of Aravos. Have I mentioned that I can't wait to see where the Aravos storyline goes? I really loved how they revealed him. Like, he just walks into a room through the, the mirror, and Baron's staring like, because it was totally unexpected. I really like that. Also, the entire sequence in Through the Eyes, where, the egg falls into the water, and then Ezran jumps in to get it, and then they all think he died, and then Rayla reveals that he can't be dead because her binding is still tied, and then they both like run around trying to find him, and then they have to break the eyes to get him back. And it was just, that entire sequence I thought was excellent. So yeah. Number 19, favorite sad scene. I would say that scene where Claudia tells Callum about Harrow's death, and just not that scene exactly, because we don't see her actually telling him, but what happens afterward, where, Rayla's kind of waiting for him, and then he walks out of the darkness, and she sees him, and he's crying, and then she's like all heartbroken as well for him, and it's really sad. It's just really sad, what can I say? And it was beautiful too. Number 20, favorite funny moment. Oh god, there's so many. Like, the Game of Thrones reference in episode 1. Say hello to my little friend. Callum yelling, human troops! And the Maya's reaction. Soren trying to squeeze through the, the cave walls after Claudia. That was hysterical. The Crow Master. Hilarious. Soren's slidey sling go fast rope. Soren not getting sarcasm. There's a lot of Soren in here. Are you seeing the pattern? Because, yeah, I just find him hysterical. Work on growing a fifth finger? What? Captain Villas, the D is silent. Just everything Captain Villas does. Everything he says. Everything about Villas. I just loved him. Oh, a boring dream then. I see what you did there. The Sailor Moon reference. The Lord of the Rings reference. Just all the references. Gren. Just Gren. I love him. Soren's haiku. He can't even count syllables. Just so many things. This This show is so freaking hilarious. I just love it. Number 21. Something you would change in the show. Not much really. I wanted them to skip the skippiness in the first season. But they did fix it in season 2 and it was so much better. So yeah, I wouldn't really change anything in this thing. I really love it as it is. Number 22. Favorite promo picture. Well, I came in too late into the fandom to really have been aware of any promo pictures or anything. But I really love the one where the main trio is looking up at Soul Reagan. I loved it so much I had to make it my wallpaper right there. As you can see, it's my wallpaper on my computer, it's my wallpaper on my phone. Like, I love that picture. It's so cool. I'm gonna do 2 for 1 now. 23 and 24. A promo picture that made you say, I need to watch this episode, or a promo video that made you say, I need to watch this episode. As I said before, I came in too late to the fandom to really have been around when promos were getting released. So I just watched the whole thing and didn't really care about anything else. But what first grabbed my attention and got me to watch this show is that it's from one of the writers of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like that was my hook into it. Was much more than enough to catch my interest when it came to this show. Number 25, a favorite premiere. I'm gonna have to go with the season 2 premiere because I mean, season 1 was great, but the first few episodes didn't really do much for me until the third one hit, and then I was hooked. But I thought the first episode of season 1 was kind of you know, the characters were not like together yet, like stuff hadn't started happening yet, so it was just like, okay, we're setting this up. But the season 2 premiere was much better. Number 26, favorite themed episode, and you know, this questionnaire is for like TV shows in general, so they do have this themed episode question, which is for like special episodes like Halloween episodes and, you know, Christmas episodes and that kind of stuff. And the Dragon Prince doesn't have that because it's a fantasy show that happens in its own world, separate from ours. So it doesn't have that, but I do have to say that I love the flashback episodes, like I mentioned before. Like, those 2 episodes for me are just great. 27. A moment when I thought one of the main characters was gonna die, but they didn't. Not really. Like, I've always been pretty certain that at least when it comes to the main trio, neither of them are gonna die. Like, I think that they'll make it through the entire show just fine. And even if I'm wrong and one of them dies, it won't be like in some random episode. It will be at the end, you know? So, like, I'm pretty sure it won't happen. They won't die. They'll make it through. Thinking about Avatar kind of reinforces that. But yeah, I mean, I think if they die, it's gonna be at the end, if any of them die. And so I've never really been worried. Like, I know they'll pull through somehow through whatever's happening to them in any random episode. 28. The I didn't see that coming moment. This is like stupid. It's not like some big reveal or anything. But I wasn't expecting Ava's leg to be an illusion. I really did think for a long time that her leg had been, you know, healed back by someone. And even when she said she wasn't a healer, I was like, but the leg, you know. So yeah, I don't know. That surprised me. I wasn't expecting that. 29. The reason you watched this show. Well, initially it was because of the Avatar: The Last Airbender connection. But even past that, I love how idealistic this show is. I love how optimistic, I love how hopeful this show is. I think we need more positive, hopeful representations and of shows on TV, especially with the way the world is going right now. And just The Dragon Prince feels like a breath of fresh air among other TV shows, simply because it's so positive and idealistic, and it teaches you so many important, hopeful things and lessons. And I really love it for that reason. I think the world needs more of that right now. And, you know, the characters are interesting and multidimensional and you know, inspirational, but at the same time they're very human and they're very relatable. Like, they make mistakes, and I like that because I can still feel inspired by them despite the fact that they make mistakes and they have flaws. And I just love the show for that. It's so great. And last but not least, 30, a scene you will never forget. And I don't know that there's one in particular, but I have to mention the one I love the most and that I keep thinking of because it looks so amazing and it was so evocative given everything that was happening, is that scene where, you know, Runan walks out of the throne room and falls to his knees and then the binding falls off. I just thought it was really poignant. It just really got to me. And also, you know, the first appearance of Erebos, just because he looks so striking, and I really like that. I didn't notice him at the beginning. You know, at the beginning of the show, there's like this whole montage where they explain like the sources of magic and the elven races and that kind of stuff, and everything that happened between the elves and the humans and stuff. And we do get a glimpse of Erebos in there, or at least I learned after I finished watching the show that is Erebos. I just thought it was some other like star elf, whatever. But it turns out it is Erebos, and it's been confirmed. And we saw him there, but I didn't, like I said, I didn't even realize he was going to be a thing at that point. So I don't count that that one glimpse of him we got. Just the first time that he appeared in the mirror, that for me was like, wow, this dude is gonna be important, you know. And he just looks so impactful, you know. I could stare at fan art with him all day. Like, I've been, the official Twitter account keeps retweeting photos of people doing Erebos cosplay, and it's so great. Like, I'm so jealous of those people. Like, Erebos he has such a great look to him. And I'm pretty convinced he's gonna end up being the big bad, if not if not the big bad, at least a bad guy, an important bad guy. So I can't tell you yet whether I like him or not. Honestly, he kind of gives me the creeps at this point, like with the whole worm in the ear kind of thing, and how controlling he is of everything that's happening with Viren. But like, his look, it's so stark and so impactful and so pretty. I'm just gonna go there and say he's so pretty. The first time I saw him, I was like, like total emoji face. You know, like, he was so great. So yeah, those two scenes for me are kind of great. And okay, that's about it from me. It's pretty much all I wanted to say about the Dragon Prince. When season 3 comes out, which I hope is gonna be soon, because I seriously cannot wait that long. Like, season 1 and 2 were separated by like, what, a few months? So hopefully we'll get a season 3 soon, book 3 soon. I am wondering if it's gonna be, you know, one book per source of magic, which would be great, because Avatar: The Last Airbender was only 3 books. This one could be longer, so not longer in number of episodes, but just feel longer in terms of plotline. So yeah, I hope season 3 happens soon. Since it's computer animated, I would hazard the guess that it's quicker than this, at least, since they already have the models and everything. So I don't know. I hope it happens soon, but until then, I'm gonna, you know, be totally like going through all the fanfic and all the fan art. That's when I will spend my time. I don't feel yet that I want to write anything, because I tend not to want to write fanfic until I have my canon completed, because it feels like I don't know where it's going yet. So you probably won't see me writing much for it, but I will definitely be reading, and I will definitely be looking at fan art and videos and just theorizing about everything that's going to happen. I haven't delved too much yet into the fan theories out there, so if any of you guys who are watching me have any theories for the Dragon Prince and what's coming, apart from the whole, you know, Harrow became a parrot kind of thing, which is the only one that I'm kind of really interested in at the moment. But if you have any other theories as to what's gonna happen, feel free to drop them in a comment. And while you're in there, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you like my stuff, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It really does help me a lot with the algorithms and stuff. The more subscribers I have, the more followers I have, it really does help. In the meantime, you can find me on social media, probably gushing about the Dragon Prince, on Twitter and Instagram at girlsareweird with underscores between the words, and on Tumblr at girlsareweird with hyphens between the words. You can find a Facebook page for this vlog at facebook.com/FreakingNarnia, which I technically am uploading the episodes over there too, but Facebook is being weird, and like the last 2 episodes it wouldn't let me upload them, so I don't know what's going on. But in the meantime, you know, if you go to Facebook, you'll find the episodes one way or the other, even if it's just by a link to YouTube, they're all there. Or you can go to my main website at FreakingNarnia.com. All my videos are up there in case you need to catch up or anything, so yeah, just go ahead and have at it. Also remember that I have a Redbubble store where I make art based on my favorite quotes from my favorite fandoms. I will definitely be making more art based on the Dragon Prince, so be on the lookout for that. But then you can use that art to print on different merchandise such as t-shirts, coffee cups, computer covers, all kinds of neat stuff, so be sure to go to my Redbubble store and maybe purchase something if you're in the mood. It really does help me a lot. Also remember that I am uploading these episodes in podcast form. I have not yet uploaded many of my previous episodes, but I am working on like the more recent ones, and I will go through the backlog sooner rather than later, hopefully. So be on the lookout for that. You can just look it up by searching for Talks from Freaking Narnia in any of your major podcast platforms. And also remember, if you want to get your podcast episodes on the very same day that they go up on YouTube, then you should join my Patreon page. You should subscribe to my Patreon page, where for only $1 you can get access to the podcast episodes on the very same day that I upload them to YouTube. So be sure to check that out. There's also more perks in there for you to get if you subscribe, so be sure to look that up. And yeah, I guess that's about it from me today. I will see you guys next time with another video from all the way in freaking Narnia. In the meantime, bye fellow humans, human fellas. Bye. I wave at you with my 5 fingers. That I would do a review for Captain Marvel, and that's gotta be Caleb. Parental shittiness. The Game of Thrones reference in episode 1. Soren's sliding sling go fast rope.